Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Friday, August the 2nd, and we have a lot to cover today. If we start off with the futures in our Bloomberg app and take a look at where we are, we're just minutes away from the U.S. jobs data coming out, and we'll see whether that helps to provide any indication of softening and unemployment within the greater jobs market. But we can see that things are looking pretty grim across the screen here as we're an hour and 10 minutes from the start of trading. The NASDAQ is off almost it's more than 1.5%, getting close to 2% at down 306 points in the futures, and the Dow Jones off about 0.75% or 312. And I think depending on what the job numbers come out with at 8:30, what we could be seeing today and going into the next, I'm going to say month, for the month of August, is we could see a fairly significant market correction to the downside as we start to move into other sector earnings that may come out less favorable than some of the ones we've seen thus far. So let's talk about the ones that we've seen thus far. So Apple reported yesterday after market close. Apple came out with some very good numbers and beat on earnings and revenue. They beat in most areas, and they have a lot of areas to cover, so not everything was perfect, but overall their numbers were positive, and it's pretty flat right now. It was flat in the aftermarket. It's pretty flat even now in the pre-market. Amazon came out, missed on their numbers, and in a number of areas, and they are down going into the session today. Then we look at what happened pre-market. So three companies, the oil companies, have announced this morning. ENB or Enbridge beat before market, posting better earnings and revenue. Chevron missed, and Exxon beat. So we've got a bit of a conflict there between those two. Exxon actually beat, which is great. They haven't been doing that in the past, and they did this quarter. Exxon's numbers were not as positive, and it is down slightly, and Exxon is up slightly in the pre-market. So let's go back to our chart, and we'll start from the top again and look at health and retail. So when we look at retail, we've got Lululemon off 6. Again, this is a stock that just seems to continue to be on the decline. Not a lot of good news coming out of this. And I can't see that August and maybe even into September are going to be that positive for Lulu. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Dollar General seems to be positive in the pre-market, but it's definitely taken a hit over the course of the last couple of weeks. Walmart is off slightly. Home Depot down. Nike, even though we've got the Olympics on, and this could be an opportunity for Nike to really come out and generate some positive press and some positive media, it is off and way off, like 30% off where it has been in the past few months. And then we've got healthcare. HCA, which had good results, still hanging on there and in the green yesterday. Not much, only 7 cents, but still in the green. Cardinal positive yesterday. And with the bad results, Humana just continues to sink and is harder and harder hit. In transportation, which we heard from JB Hunt this quarter, which was off in terms of numbers, earnings, and revenue, it is down. CNR, nothing pre-market. Then we get into oil. So if we scroll down to crude is now down 70 cents today. So it's taken a big drop, maybe because we haven't seen a retaliation yet to the bombings in the Middle East. But should that happen, I think crude futures for sure will pop back up again. What does that mean for oil refining stocks? Well, we had Con Ed, a utility, come out the other day with better than expected earnings. It's now crossed the $100 mark. I expect this stock will be in the low 90s within the next 30 to 60 days. Because that seems to be its trading envelope. So it is passed through its higher resistance level, but I think it will come back as the whole market pulls back. I believe ENB will have a positive day today based on its earnings. And I think Chevron will be off slightly. And Exxon will be up slightly as we're seeing in the pre-market. Unless we see crude come back and get back above 76, really even all the way closer to $77, I think oil is going to be somewhat flat today. I'm still bearish on oil going forward. If you're looking for a bit of a swing trade over the next, call it 30 to 90 days, 1 quarter, but I don't expect anything miraculous will come out of this based on the fact that we don't have any news to justify that. This tech is getting slammed. So this is a time, really, in my opinion, to get out of tech, get rid of your positions, particularly in companies that aren't posting strong results. Cloudflare came out last night, posted great results. They were up $8 before. Now they're up $5 and almost $6 pre-market. So that should get them up close to the $80 mark. Still undervalued in my opinion. I think that is a company that's making great progress in that cybersecurity space. But then you can just see the red on the screen across the board. We're going to see a continued fall in ARM. I'd expect ARM to go under $100 within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I would wait for that. Microsoft, which had okay results. I mean, the results weren't bad. We just weren't seeing the amount of growth that analysts wanted in their cloud sector. It's off $8. I think we're going to see Microsoft come back into the 380, 390 range as we move forward. AMD had great numbers this quarter. It is up slightly this morning, so that's a positive. There are definitely positives to be taken out of this. Lam Research, they announced results this week. They're off again. They were off almost $100 yesterday and off another $23 this morning. MongoDB is up. Let's see what we're looking at there. I'm not sure when earnings came out for Mongo. They are definitely not out yet. That's the end of August. Amazon getting slammed, down $15. Tesla is off this morning. That's been one that seems to go against the logical thinking and continues to rise, but it is off. And even Meta, I mean, being down almost $5 in the more than $5 now in the pre-market, back into the low 490s. This is getting back into the price territory where it's definitely a buy signal, in my opinion. However, that's not taking into account the greater market downturn. So I think Meta, like everything else, even a company that's had extremely strong results, generating a ton of cash flow, actually being able to demonstrate that their investments in AI are paying off, it's getting slammed just by the tide turning in the tech segment and in the NASDAQ itself. NVIDIA off as well. If NVIDIA drops below $100, this is a total buy signal from my perspective, because NVIDIA is coming out with results later in August, end of the month on the 28th. And NVIDIA, again, I believe will blow its numbers out of the water, because it's really the only provider of the chips that are needed for AI, and it is just crushing it in that segment. And we've heard from all of the Mag 7 that they're investing in these chips, and they've increased their capital expenditures in these. And that's only the biggest 7 companies. So think about how that applies to the 2,000 companies in the Russell 2000 or some of the others that are clearly making investments in that area as well. Google. I sold out of Google yesterday as I saw it going down, thinking, you know what, I'm not going to wait for a loss to occur. I'm going to get out when I have a profit, and I'll buy back in when it goes on sale. This stock looks like it's going to be below 170. This is a stock that definitely will be in the $200 by the range by the end of the year. So let's wait to see where that gets to today, and then look at making a small buy today, and then we'll wait till Monday to see if we get any rally or come back next week. Adobe results later in the quarter, so not out yet. TSM off almost $7, so almost off everything that it was up yesterday. So getting hit hard. And then financials. So great buying opportunity here. Financials are very strong, and there is a lot of good coming out of these, but just wait for them to settle to some lows and then buy in and ride them on the way back up. SoFi, one of my favorites, was up at 780, 785 earlier this week. It's now going to be down under the $7 mark. I'd be looking to make a purchase of some of that. I bought some of that yesterday. as it was down in the low teens in the $7 range. And then we look at JPM, it's going to get below $200 in my belief. I think we're going to see MS, Morgan Stanley, come in the 96 to 98 range. And then Goldman, I think Goldman will come back into the 480s. And those would all be incredible entry points for those companies as we move forward, because everything that we're lined up to start hearing about in terms of rate cuts in September and net interest income growth and just how their businesses are operating and generating isn't being affected by these short-term blips. So wait for things to go on sale, buy them when they're on sale, and then sell them when other people want them. Buy them when people don't, sell them when people do want them, and that's how you're going to continue to make money in any kind of market, particularly the stock market. Good luck with your trades today.